Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Team Building Podcast. I'm Matt Johnson. We've got a great guest for you today. We are talking with Adam Stark about how he essentially has gone from learning and partnering up with Elite Real Estate Systems originally as an expansion partner and is now actually training other teams on how to build their teams and working with team leaders. And we're going to talk about the transformation that has taken place in his business, the systems that they've implemented, the things that they're doing that's working and what's not working. And so we've got a bunch of fun stuff to get into. First of all, the ever-shrinking man himself, the man, the myth, the legend, Jeff Cohn. Jeff, what's up?
Hey, dude, super jacked. I'm excited. I just got done training all of the agents in my office and across Omaha on how to build and scale real estate teams. Go figure, right? We open our office up every month to anyone across all brokerage brands. And we did stream that, so anyone that watches the ERS live stream as an agent or team leader would have seen it. But I'm excited to introduce Adam, a friend of mine, Adam, and his wife who's not with us. I don't know if she's in the background. We could bring her on as well if you wanted to. But Adam and I met, man, has it been over 3 years ago? We were interviewing. Almost, right? We were interviewing agents trying to decide where we wanted to expand. And he was an agent on a team, him and his wife, in Salt Lake City. And we really connected. We felt like they were going to do a great job implementing the systems and strategies that we believed in to help scale a business. And so they took the plunge. They quit their team. They went to a different brokerage. They partnered with us to create Salt Lake's Elite Real Estate Group. And then over the course of 2016, they scaled their business. And Adam can talk about some of the pain points they've experienced and continue to experience, just like us. And we decided to sell off all of our expansion teams a year and a half ago to go full force into Elite Real Estate Systems because we saw a huge need for training amongst agents across the country, and we couldn't impact enough people fast enough by doing expansion. And so Adam bought the team from us, continues to run it today, and is one of our Elite Real Estate Systems clients, as well as one of our 3 Elite Real Estate Systems coaches. So Adam, why don't you take the audience for 5 minutes kind of through that journey? I just went through a lot in a short amount of time, but you've gone through this over the last 3 years, and I know there's been a lot of learning curve and a lot of fear and a lot of challenges and trials. I think the audience hears about how everyone crushes it and is successful. That's what everyone focuses on. Share with us how you suck and what you failed at and what you continue to fail at.
Oh, I got good stories for you then.
You're like, I got all the content.
That's right. How long do we got? No,
right.
So I actually come from the investment world. So I was with Edward Jones, worked as a stockbroker, helping people do financial plans. And, with the market changing in 2007, 2008, that impacted our business as well as the real estate business. My wife actually got her license about 10 years ago, right at about that same time. And she slowly got into it as our kids were getting older. And it got to a point where she had 5 or 6 deals at one time that were going on, and 4 or 5 of them actually blew up on her. And so I was helping her, walking her through it, negotiating for her, walking her through the negotiation, and then she'd go back to the other agents and try to work them out. She finally came to me and said, I don't want to do the negotiating anymore. I want you to become the negotiator, so get your license. So she negotiated with me to become the negotiator. Go figure, right?
Yeah,
so maybe she is the better negotiator.
Right.
So we that's right. So we started up with a brokerage that she had been part of and had some great resources, a great broker that was helping her get going. But we were having a hard time just trying to figure out how we were going to work together, what we were going to do, what each day meant, what our hats were that we were going to be wearing. And so we decided to join a team. So we ended up leaving that brokerage, joined a team. The model of that team was very similar to a Keller Williams, the Red Book model, where you had buyer's agents and listing agents, and there was no crossover. And so we went through that process for about a year, and I knew that it wasn't the right fit for me. I knew that I could do something. I could build my own team. There was things I liked about it, things I didn't like, and so I wanted to create something that would basically be what I would want to join. And so in that process, I started watching some different webinars and podcasts, and I came across your video that you did, I think it was with Josh Smith, talking about expansion teams. And so we went through a couple conversations with you by phone, and then eventually ended up coming out to Omaha. I want to say it was September of 2015 that we came out to your workshop.
Awesome.
And it was a great experience for us. One of the biggest things that we learned from going to Omaha and seeing your team was the transparency you had on your team. that was something we hadn't seen in the brokerages that we'd been part of, that people were very willing to be open and share what was working, what wasn't working, why they liked the team, why they didn't like the team, as well as then the accountability and the holding people accountable to their own success and what they wanted to accomplish. So those are the big two things that we got out of it. And from that experience, we decided, yeah, it's right that we wanted to join and become part of your expansion and be one of the first 3 or 4 expansion teams that you created. Yep. And so, yeah, that was kind of the start of it. We then jumped full board into Boomtown, getting a front-end website, and then we ended up having in 2016 the best year we've ever had. And so with the systems, the processes, the things that you guys have in place that you shared with us, coached us through, set up for us, it really helped us to be able to go from being part of a team and then leaving and going, what do we do next, and then joining something that was already in place.
Sure. So where would you be if you hadn't come to the workshop in Omaha? Could you be where you are right now? And if you could be, what would you need to do? So anyone listening that wants to get to where you are, mindset, results, etc., what could they do if they didn't join ERS and they didn't want to come out to the workshop?
I think the biggest thing is the aspect of time that's needed to create the systems. So I don't have enough time to do all that. With what you have in place, the systems that you have created, the partnership that you have with Boomtown, introducing us to systems like Mojo and Rockerbox, the drip plans that are already in place, all of that I wouldn't be able to do on my own. I know me. I'm good at starting things, but finishing them, that's not me. So I get things going and I move on to the next thing, almost like the squirrel thing that happens, right? Jumping from project to project, I'm going to get something going, it's going to work. So being able to have the systems already in place were big for us. And without that, I'd still be floundering, still be trying to figure it out. How do I make this work? How do I set up a contract to bring an agent on? What type of training am I going to teach people? So yeah, that's kind of where I think we would be, is we'd be floundering.
So tell us, where were your numbers last year? What's your goal this year? And where have your biggest pain points been as you've tried to grow this out? I mean, this is scary stuff, right? I mean, your wife was doing great. You join her. You're on a team. You choose to leave that team, that security, that income, and build your own with someone you barely know from Nebraska and just go all in. And here you are today. So share with the audience where your numbers are. Also, are you in production still, or are you now more in the CEO role?
So it's been an interesting ride through that process. Like I said, sometimes I have that squirrel effect, and I jump on different projects. So I am in production, but I've dabbled into different things like radio and TV that have taken some of my energies and focus away from production. So talking about 2016, our first year with you, our best year ever, we ended up doing as a team. It was a small team of 3 people, new agent that wasn't doing a lot, but we ended up doing about 30 transactions, right around $9 million in production that first year. We then moved into 2017, again with me being distracted by a few things, but the system working. I love that the system worked for us still. We were able to do about 45 transactions, a little over 13 million. Ended up being the #1 team for our brokerage of 1,100 agents and 22 teams in 2017. So the #1 team for Realty Path. Yeah. So,
dude, I wish I had been there when you gave us all the credit.
Well, I mean, we got the big award and everything too. So it was great to have that.
I'd like to thank ERS for helping put us.
That's right.
That's awesome, dude. I didn't know that.
And I think that's a big part of it is that we have the systems in place that was able to get us to the point. So,
all right, so what are you going to do this year? So no offense, but the audience listening, there's people that do hundreds and hundreds of deals.
Absolutely.
And so they're listening to you going, all right, great, 50 deals, whatever. Where are you going to be this year, and how are you going to grow faster, and why haven't you grown faster already?
Okay, so right now we're on pace to do between 60 to 75 deals. Yeah. So that puts us right there. With that, we're going to be roughly 25 million in production.
So 13 to 25 in 2 years.
Yeah.
Actually, I think you said 9 to 25 in 2 years.
Yeah. So that's where our currently trending. With the aspect of, sorry, repeat the last second part of that question, right?
How big do you want to go?
How big do we? Well, our real goal is to get to that 100 and then move beyond that. And
100 units or 100 million?
units, 100 units, and then get to 50 million. So really, that's going to put us closer to 150 units to get to our 50 million mark. And that's our goal. That's the thing that we set out to accomplish at the beginning of this year, with the realization that the way that we're going to get there is through building our team. And
so this hasn't been easy, and you've obviously failed forward. What would you say are like the top 3 challenges that you faced, and you've been able to overcome them, and what have you learned from that?
Okay. So I think the biggest challenge that we're still working with is the aspect of bringing on new agents onto the team. We've been very picky. We really look at trying to keep our team dynamic as very similar to what we have now, and we know that every time we bring somebody on, it's going to change that dynamic. And so we've been picky in that process, and maybe too picky within that process. But in bringing people on, what we've discovered is that there's different systems we still need to put in place, such as what are our training, what are our expectations when they come in, how quickly are they going to move through that training process. And those are some of the things that really have kind of held us back for right now. But we're in that process of creating our checklist. What are the steps that they're going to do? Another thing that was a pain point that's actually become very successful for us is we ended up having the problem of having too many leads. And most people out there are going to go, that's a problem? It absolutely is a problem.
Agreed.
Because we were giving our agents too many people. They were getting distracted. They weren't able to give enough attention to the leads.
How much was too many per person?
So we were somewhere between 60 and 90 leads a month per agent.
Yep.
And right now, we're roughly at 50 per agent right now. But we did bring on Rockerbox, which then helps us to manage that a lot better. Because the agents aren't necessarily getting all 50 leads. Rockerbox was working those leads for us and then getting us the people that are ready to go. And so that was the big change for us, is that we had another system we could put into place. That managed.
How long ago did you hire Rockerbox, and what have the results been?
We were 6 months out. We have had, building the pipeline, we've got about 15 people right now that are in our pipeline ready to buy. Shortage of inventory is our biggest issue. And if we had inventory, we would have many of those people through that pipeline. We've got about 4 or 5 that are under contract, and we've closed one so far with that. Dude,
4 under contract. So Rockerbox is owned by a good friend of mine, Josh Cunningham. For anyone that doesn't know about them, they've got about 100 callers in College Station, Texas. So they're all local to the United States, no accent, hard running, a lot of college students that work there. And I know that they do an awesome job with lead scrubbing. Their focus is taking on, correct me if I'm wrong, the new leads. A majority of the time, their unique proposition is that they're going to call the new lead within 2 minutes of them registering on the website. Have you felt like they've been able to do that effectively, Adam?
Yeah, it's been amazing. Their lead intro to contact rate is very high. We couldn't manage that with each agent trying to take on 50 leads. We can't. There's 4 of us.
You just have to hire someone to do it. But.
Yeah. So now we've got to have somebody, 80 hours a week that's ready to take those on to call them within the first 2 minutes. So.
Other pain points. So your big pain point, and this is the same one we have. We generate 2,000 leads right now, 50 per person, maybe even 60. And what we found is you give someone 60 leads, they sell 1. You give them 30 leads, they sell 1. But they're not having to work as hard to get the 1. Now they can kind of cherry pick. The dysfunction for us is we haven't hired enough agents. We want to hire more. We made it intentional, but it's tough finding the right people because it's hard to be on my team. You got to work hard. You got to make a lot of calls. You got to be held accountable. You got to level up in life. And not everybody wants to do that. Most agents don't want to be a part of that culture. So that's been a similar challenge that you've faced as well. So what are you going to do to fix that? I mean, you can reduce the leads, which feels like you're taking a step backwards. You'd rather add the agents, right?
Yeah, well, we ended up reducing the leads from the aspect of one of our brokerage provided us a lead source that we weren't having success with because we couldn't follow up. So we ended up giving it back. That's not something we want to do.
How are you compensating the broker?
We had a split on that where they were
A different
getting
split?
they were getting
that's fine.
like a
You don't have to
25
say
or
it.
something like that. So
All right.
I mean, just whatever it is. So
And like, if anyone's listening, they're like, well, why would you keep paying for the leads? My leads are getting paid for through MSAs. So that's like $8,000 a month. I don't need that much money, but I'm not going to tell them that I don't need their money. It's like the government. Like, you're never going to go backwards. You're always just going to ask for more. So I also have this like fairy tale idea that this year 50 people are going to join my team, and it could happen. But I'm never going to stop bringing the leads in. I think that'd be crazy.
Wait, Jeff, why is that? Why is that a fairy tale? Just because it's
50 agents in 1 year that fit our culture.
50 new agents.
Yeah, 50 new
Okay,
agents.
gotcha. All right, I got you.
And it could happen.
Yeah.
I think the fairy tale is I don't know that there's 50 more agents that fit my team culture. So I've been really struggling with that emotionally. Is like, you think, oh, there's just so many people. In Omaha, there's only 2,700 licensed agents. Out of those, there's probably only 200 or 300 that I would want on my team. And out of those, there's probably only another 10 right now that want to be on my team. And it's just me getting in front of them and making sure they know that there's an opportunity. And then, of course, retaining the talent that you have. So I know we only have about 5 more minutes. For our national audience watching, we stream all of these live. So if you're watching this as a recording, you can watch these live every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Central on the Elite Real Estate Systems public page. Matt, I know you stream live as well on a few places. Why don't you mention those as well?
When we do this particular show, we're talking about one of. Okay,
Just
so
this
we're
show.
broadcast to like places like the Lead Gen Description Objections Facebook group is the big one, as well as our Real Estate Uncensored Facebook groups. Yeah.
And then I think we stream to do you stream to the Omaha's Elite Real Estate Mastermind page as well?
We do.
So you guys, if you want to ever talk to one of our guests, I think, you had Lance Loken last week. We've had Rock Thomas, Josh Smith, Pat Hyben, tons of ballers, high-level people, like-minded individuals scaling, building businesses. If you guys ever want to ask these individuals questions, everyone's always like, oh, if I could ever talk to so-and-so, we're bringing on amazing guests. We'd love you to come on and ask them questions direct regarding their business. So feel free just to post up comments anytime you come into the live stream. And we're more than happy to get those questions answered. I know Matt and I both are watching that comment thread. Mm-hmm. So, Adam, for anybody out there that's kind of where you were, they're on a team or they're an individual at a brokerage and they thought about a team, but it's just they don't want to manage people. That's the number one comment I hear people say. I just don't want to have to be responsible for all these people. Have you felt a huge burden on your shoulders knowing that you've got, obviously your wife supports you, but you've got these agents that look up to you. They need your leads. They need your wisdom. They need your training. They need your mentorship. They need your advice. They're bugging you. How much time has that taken? How much stress has that created for you?
Well, I think the biggest thing is coming into time blocking. So it is stressful. It is, you're trying to help other people be successful and to be able to provide for their own family. But I think the biggest thing for me is that as I've been able to time block and set aside time to give to them to be able to help them grow their business, that has helped me relieve the stress that has come from that.
Right.
And also, I mean, one of the big tools that we have is, and what I love again about what you guys have is your Wednesday and Friday trainings that you guys do. We're able to take that content and we're able to use that. So I don't have to come up with new stuff every week. I can take what you guys have already created. And so that has helped also relieve that stress. And then our process as we're working here to create our own systems for training and for our onboarding process, it'll get easier and better for each of those agents that do come on board because they know the expectation and we can actually help them because we know what their expectation is of us and having that clarity. Again, going back to transparency that we talked about at the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I just remind the national audience, we stream all of our Wednesday, Friday trainings, 8 hours of content a month for $17 a month per person. I mean, that's the price of one dinner out. I mean, $17 to have access to that. But then, of course, you have to take advantage of it, watch the content. You can watch it live and interact with the trainer, or you can just simply watch the recordings. Does your team watch it live usually, or do you guys watch the recordings?
So the way that we've actually used it is Natalie and I will go in and watch the recordings, and we'll take snippets of the information you guys share. So we're not going to have our agents watch a full hour or whatever it is. We're going to have them watch 10 or 15 minutes that's pertinent to our business, and then we talk about it and apply it to us and to our market.
Love it. That's awesome. I do want to throw this out there for anyone watching and listening. We do host a workshop every month. Adam went to it 3 years ago, and obviously you've seen his growth in just 3 years. You guys started at what, 2 or 3 million, and are on track this year to do 25 million.
Correct.
That's pretty incredible growth in a very short amount of time. We have workshops coming up on April 23rd and May 21st. You can find out more about those on Elite Real Estate Systems website under workshop. It has all sorts of information about what you get. You get access to all these things that Adam's talking about regarding the back office support. And then the other product that we are most proud of that we feel has really helped Adam's team and 80 others is the Elite Real Estate Systems Team Leader Training, which is a live stream every week to your team, which provides team training as well as team leader training specifically just for the team leader every week for 1 hour for a net total of 12 hours of content and a weekly coaching call. Adam, talk for the last 2 or 3 minutes about your role as one of our ERS coaches and how you bring value to other team leaders that are trying to scale their team.
Well, one of the great things about being part of your group is that we've had the opportunity to talk to Andy and ask questions about what's working with your product, your team, your systems. And by going through that, and you guys reached out to me to become one of those coaches, I'm able to also share that same information that has helped me be successful. What I found is that those agents that are taking advantage of it, we're able to talk about what are their pain points, what are their questions about certain topics, either building teams, bringing on admin, going through how to convert leads, whatever it might be. We're able to give some direct information to them on a weekly basis that is outside even the hour that you and Andy spend talking about additional information each week. So.
I take a step back 6 years ago, and Matt, you and Greg are kind of in a similar role. You obviously have a lot more knowledge than I did when I started my team. I imagine to myself, if I could go back 6 years and I had a company, a coach, a leader, a mentor that would allow me to call them every week for 15 minutes to answer any pain points. I got to plug into all of their successful teams trainings 8 hours a month, and I got to go on a high-level private podcast with the team leader and or the team leader's direct report for a net total of 12 hours of content. I didn't have to create training content. I got access to all their back office stuff. And this is from a coaching company that has one of the top teams in the country. Number 2 at Berkshire Hathaway, top 20 in the nation, 700 sales last year. How much does this cost? $497 a month. Yeah. Like that's ridiculous. So
yeah, you would have taken one commission and tripped over yourself trying to write the check fast enough. That's what would have happened.
Honestly, I think the reason someone wouldn't join is either A, they don't believe it. They don't believe it could be everything we say it is, which it is everything we say it is. And B, they don't want to put in the work. They don't want to have to talk to someone. They don't want to have to watch videos. They don't want to have to show their agents there's a better way and scale up and level up in life. But if you want the result, you got to put in the time. And we feel that we've made it as simple as possible for someone wanting to scale a team. The whole point of this podcast, the team building podcast, now there's a solution to plug into, adopt the strategies and systems that we've implemented to scale our business. You can scale yours in your market just like Adam did. Salt Lake's Elite Real Estate went from no deals to how many deals this year? 75 transactions and 25 million in 3 years. That's life-changing. Adam, one last comment. What's the biggest thing that's changed in your life from having more financial freedom?
What I love is the aspect that we're able to do a lot more with our family. I think you might have saw it last year. We were able to take our kids on a Disney cruise, which has been a lifelong dream of my wife to be able to do that. And it's just been, it was an amazing adventure for us. So, yeah.
Yeah, and then, there's all these things we do and things we buy and everyone can see it. But just the peace of mind to know, man, I don't need to worry if I'm going to have a commission check next month because I have 12 pendings. My team right now has 100 pendings. People are always like, I couldn't be in a commission job. I'm like, you could be if you had 100 commissions coming in over the next 60 days. That's called predictable revenue. You know what's coming in because of what happened in the past and how many executed you have. So, Matt, any final questions? You've done awesome, Adam. I know you've brought a ton of value to our listeners today.
No, I just want to say, if you enjoy the podcast, make sure to subscribe, iTunes, Stitcher, Apple Podcast app. You can get the video versions on iTunes, or not iTunes, YouTube, excuse me. And that's a great way to kind of catch up on the content. You can also get all the back episodes on EliteRealEstateSystems.com. There's a podcast page that has everything that we've ever done. That's the only thing that I wanted to contribute. And stick around, guys, if you're watching this live or if you're listening to this after the fact, it'll be the next episode in the rotation. But we're going to hop on and do a team building mastermind with Greg Harrelson, and it's going to be absolutely awesome. We're super excited about that, so stay with us.
Awesome. And my last mention will just be a reminder. We are hosting the Team Building Summit. Adam's coming and speaking there, as well as Greg Harrelson. Greg McDaniels, Matt Johnson, Spring Benson, Jeff Cohn, Josh Cunningham, who's the CEO of Rockerbox, Frank Klesitz, CEO of Viral Marketing. We have representatives from Boomtown and Dotloop. I have a guest motivational speaker who's going to talk about a tragic event that happened in his life 2 years ago that's going to help inspire and motivate. And then I'm bringing on all of my top team leaders and admin to a panel and allowing the audience to drill them as to why they choose to stay on our team. So tons of value, $297. Have you ever seen an event so cheap? It's our break even. We're actually going to probably lose money. And the whole focus is every year we want to have this summit that continues to build and gain traction. So it's in Omaha. Search it. If you want to sign up, you can buy an Eventbrite ticket at theteambuildingsummit.com. Without further ado, Adam, great job today. Thanks for coming on our show.
Hey, it was great. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thanks so much, guys. We'll see everybody on the next episode.